Hello and welcome to the show. This week's FailRace versus the community. We were racing cycled production where we drive completely standard cars. The first race took some Saleen S7s to Laguna Seca. There was an almighty lag spike at the first corner though that would sadly see a number of cars get broken. There's a spinner in the background going across the sand again. A little bit more bumping on this opening lap. The Saleens, I think these are really very good cars to drive. They can be a tad difficult. They are a little bit understeery. It takes a little bit of getting used to. I very much like driving them though. I was battling with a yellow Saleen. We went too wide. I was having to make sure to give him space on the inside. You can't quite sneak around the next corner, and then it begins the drag race up the hill. Now this next corner you can get an overtake done. The yellow car's having a look, but it's very tough to do so. Things go a little wrong for me. The silver car ahead gets a moment across the sand. I have to avoid it, and the yellow car gets out of all of that a little bit better off. Yeah, I had a bit of a frantic first lap as there's a car ahead gets a little wrong across the dirt on the corkscrew, and I have to say it was at the front of the field that was about the only interesting stuff going on. With so many cars broken at the first corner, the field further back became really spread out. This top five were about the only vehicles within sight of each other. The yellow car here getting up the inside after the red vehicle had a big slide. Yeah, we were the only group of cars that were anywhere near each other. I dropped to the back of it after making a big mistake into turn one, but yeah, there was just so much space between the vehicles further back. The leader, this black Saleen, had led from the first corner. He had a very big, scary moment over the jump. We've seen cars have issues there. He did very well to save that one. Very easy to have put that round in a circle. He keeps going, but of course has now been a little bit slow through that first corner. The yellow car's up the inside having a look, but that's to take a very narrow line. That makes him slow off the turn, so by the time they've reached the next corner, the black car can just about sweep ahead and keep the position. Yeah. Getting that sideways into turn one is not particularly what you want to be doing, but he was having to now defend quite heavily from the vehicle behind. I was having a great battle in third as well, trying to get past the other of the grey Saleens. Unfortunately, lag would strike my car as the grey vehicle just lagged back on my screen, broke all of the front of my my car. Yeah, I had no brakes. You can see the car wobbling about on the ruined suspension. When I came into the final corner, forgetting how shot the brakes were going to be, I promptly ended up going for a trip across the sand, and that would dump me back down into fifth. At the front, as we came onto the final lap, the yellow car was doing everything possible to try and get past the grey vehicle. Unfortunately, they'd both outbrake themselves. The yellow car outbraking himself a bit more would tag the back of the black vehicle, go round in a circle. He would then drop all the way back to fifth, meaning that the black Saleen would go on to take victory, navigating one of the back markers that had a little off-track excursion at the final corner. Yeah, plenty of cars would have to tour the pit lane at some point in this one for various damage from the lag. But yeah, the black vehicle would take victory. Second place was a very close battle on the final lap. The grey Saleen had collected the spun yellow car, had done all sorts of damage to his vehicle that surprised the red vehicle with having absolutely no acceleration, and I would go through the pair of them with my utterly ruined car to somehow claim second place. A little bit of a lucky final lap and a few bumps and scrapes on that one. Amazingly, yeah, I would get my car up into second place. But unfortunately, after the first lap, it was a little bit of a disappointing race with everyone being so spread out. Race 2 would see us driving some Escort Cosworths at Yas Marina. Now, the whole point of doing these cycle production races is they're designed to get some really very close racing. And after the Saleens hadn't quite produced that kind of action, I was filled with confidence driving these cars. The Escorts, lovely, easy cars to drive. There was a little bit of bumping through turn one. Everybody's 3, 4 wide, I'm not sure. They were all trying to fit lots of cars into the same piece of tarmac through these first few corners. Amazingly, everybody got out the other side in relatively good condition. We didn't have any lag in these later races. We all made it through the first corners with only a few minor bumps. There was something got a spin. The chrome car got a bit of a knock again. They're all trying to fit far too many cars into the same piece of racetrack, and now we're all squabbling over over the tarmac. Me from the back of the grid had made it right up to this little group, and the car that we're following had managed to make it through all of the chaos as they continued to swivel down that back straight at the front, and it was too wide down the start-finish line, with the black Escort trying to find a way past the pilot car. I do like the having the proper rally livery on these cars. They go up towards the first corner. The black car is around the outside for the first part of the corner, but that then puts you on the inside for this next bit, and it's all sort of chopping and changing through the corners. Eventually, the black car manages to make up the position going around the outside of the corners there. Quite an impressive overtake to get up to the lead, and the action continued throughout the field. This time the turquoisey coloured car getting a good run onto this start-finish straight. With it being such a long straight in these cars, not being the fastest things in a straight line, it was so important to get a good run out of the final turn. Get a good run out of that, and you can get a good run down the entire straight, and that makes overtaking so much easier. Both cars are running a little bit wide through that first corner, and you'll see plenty of that as people are just sort of learning where they can push the cars and where they can't, as again both the turquoise and red car fall off the track, and it's the silver and black car that is continuing to make up places. I too was having a pretty good drive making my way through the field as I have to do the scary round the outside of this double apexed corner, and I managed to keep my car all the way around the outside. I'm still on the outside for the next corner. Amazingly, even running across the curbs, I didn't have too many problems with keeping my car there. Eventually, I get the move done after being many corners side by side with that blue vehicle. Just about got that overtake done. A little bit of pace swapping, and now I've got another car right in front of me for me to try and find a way past. I think I may have given a little bit of a bump into that final turn at the front, and these two were still going at it over the lead. And as I said earlier, that run onto the start-finish straight is so very important. And the black car was just out a little bit too wide, was just that little bit slower coming onto the straight, allowing the yellow and blue car, to get up alongside. And the car with the best run onto the straight was going to try and make it 3 wide into the first corner. Yellow car can't quite slow it down, was a little bit too late on the brakes as the other two cars proceed to fight over that first position. Yeah, getting a good run on that straight, especially if you can sit at the slipstream and so on, you can make up that little bit of time. But they're all making it through quite calmly, and of course the more they fight, the closer 4th place gets to them. Behind that 4-way battle for the lead, we were having a right little scrap over what was 5th place. A little mistake from me dropped us back behind the chrome car that promptly made a mistake of his own, running wide on that final corner. And again, much like we saw with that change for the lead, just getting that bit better run onto the straight has allowed me to get the position long before we even get to a corner. Although this now means that both of them have got slipstream. They can both sit in the slipstream of my car. The chrome vehicle's having a look. He was thinking about having a dive, but these cars are not particularly fast. They're D-class cars. They are pretty good on the brakes as well, so actually getting a pass sort of done into one of these corners can be a little bit challenging because the braking zones isn't huge. And while that was going on, the lead was to change hands in a very similar manner yet again, just being a bit slow off that final corner. Silver and grey, the silver and black car, up the inside and would get a better run. The black vehicle is still there having a look. He's still there trying to come back at him, but there's not a huge amount that you can do when all the cars are exactly the same. A little bit of a bump into turn 1. The black car goes as greedy as he dare on the curves, but he's now got to worry about the 3rd place car. He's there, again, just one tiny mistake when you're trying to attack and you're going to lose a position as well. 4th is very, very close to that group as well. Back to this little group, the chrome car will get a bit unfortunate running the curbs. That's what the curbs can do to your vehicle when you get it wrong. It's very easy at this track. The curbs are nasty, and while these Cosworths were faring better than a lot of cars, they could still catch you out if you got things a little bit wrong. I mean, that's only a tiny loss of time getting over that curbs, but the chrome car would lose the position. And at the front, it would be this car that would go on to take victory having just about made a little bit of a gap while they continued to squabble over the second place. The yellow vehicle would make it up into second, the black car finishing in third ahead of the turquoise vehicle in fourth. It was a fantastic battles in this race. Very, very good fun throughout the entire field. The chrome vehicle would make a mistake on the final lap, and this dark blue car had been catching the group for quite a lot of the latter half of the race, and sure enough, as we come out of the final corner, it's exactly the same story again. The white and blue car just too wide on the exit. It was a little bit slow off the turn, and the drag race towards the line, they were very close. They were very, very close between them. We go to the photo finish, and it is the white and blue car that takes the, I think it was 6th position in the end. But yeah, it was a pretty close finish. And on any other day, that could well have been the closest finish of the evening. The next and final race would go to the Silverstone National Circuit with some Astra VXRs. I quite like these Astras. They're quite good cars, quite good fun to drive. Some people not quite expecting the understeer that you get from them, certainly on cold tyres with these. Yeah, there's a fair bit of understeer with a few cars escaping off the track at turn 1. There was a little bit of a kerfuffle further back, but most people made it around turn 1 without too many issues. As we left the main Silverstone track, there's another braking zone that caused problems on this opening lap. The Astras don't have the greatest of brakes. They are quite heavy cars, and it caught out a few people as we run down the back straight. The police car here is on the outside, and we see just how difficult this place is to overtake around. This is really a very tough track to get an overtake done on when everybody's driving exactly equal cars. Another blue car escaping the track. If the car in front of you defends well, makes it very, very hard to get a pass done. You saw the police car there, just couldn't get a maneuver done. And the racing at the front continued to be incredibly close around here. Again, there was another big train of Astras as everybody was all squabbling for positions. There's a white car all out of shape. The blue vehicle's having a look up the inside. The police car gives a bit of a tap to the Astra in front. The advantages with these vehicles, if you do get a tap like that, you just floor the throttle and you'll stop the car from spinning with them being front-wheel drive. I'd managed to get myself up alongside the police vehicle and was about to make an overtake on that as well. There was just so much going on at the start of this race, and because overtaking was a little bit difficult, it was keeping the field all relatively close together at the front, and it was two of the white Astras that were vying for the lead. And again, we see this outside line. This is where cars were kind of being forced to try and make overtakes. Just nobody could quite get it around the outside of that corner. If you could keep it around the outside, of course, you'd be on the inside for the next one, but nobody could quite carry the speed around the outside. Fortunately, in this instance, the leader was just a little bit slow off the corner. I'm not sure if he wasn't running manual clutch or whatever it was. He was just that little bit slow off the corner, and the second place car would get up the inside and get the position. That's definitely one of the easier places to get an overtake done, and the group behind was all very close as we go too wide into the first corner. The green Astra trying to make it stick around the outside. Ignore the car that's frozen on the track. That was just someone who disconnected, and the game's just randomly left their ghost car in the replay. Things all get a little bit hectic as we go too wide down. You don't want to be going too wide down there. They all sort of bump into each other, slow each other down, while the white car just outbraked himself across the grass. And I make up 4 positions in one corner as if they all tripped over each other. Yeah, the green car here just came off a little bit worse for wear out of all that, just dropped to the back of the group. That's what happens when you try and fit so many cars into the same piece of track. Further back, there was still some bloody close racing going on throughout the field. I think this was for around 10th position. The multicoloured, greeny, bluey colour, I don't even know what colour to call this car, got things a little bit wrong through turn 1, just got that little bit of a slide on, and the blue vehicle flew past. Again, you don't want to make mistakes. You can't afford making mistakes when everybody's driving exactly equal cars. It's the easiest way to get past somebody is when the car in front makes that little mistake. And certainly vehicles all over the field were having problems getting overtakes done. The purple TVR coloured Astra here was trying to line up an overtake on the police Astra, and he got a very good run onto this straight. The thing is, whichever car is leading, whatever car wants to be defending down this straight, all they have to do is go to the inside and there is nothing the other car can do about it, as again we see another car struggling with he doesn't even bother trying to go around the outside this time. He tries to do the cutback, but again that will put you on the outside for this next corner. Your best bet is to take a nice wide line into here and focus on getting a good run out of the turn. This time around the purple Astra can't quite do it. I think he turned it a little bit too soon on the exit of that corner, sorry, and couldn't quite get the power down soon enough, and the police car kept his position. This was the battle for third place between the yellow and green Astra, and this battle carried on like this for quite a number of laps, and they were just doing exactly the same thing lap after lap. The yellow car could keep it to the inside, but the green vehicle was so close to being able to get across in front of him, but just couldn't quite do it. He couldn't quite keep the car, get the car far enough alongside to get ahead, so he was always being forced to go around the outside into that one corner, and just nobody could quite get that maneuver to work. And in trying to go around the outside, that's put him now a little bit slow through these next corners, and the yellow Astra's just got a little bit of a breather. He's just got some space back to him. Of course, the easiest way to get past the cars is when they make a mistake, and certainly when you're defending very, very heavily, as a lot of vehicles were in this race, you cannot afford to make a little mistake. All it takes is just a tiny outbraking moment, as both the cars or two of the cars in this battle would do exactly the same thing, just trying to carry a little bit too much speed. That's all it takes to let the cars through. I had caught up to the leader, and I too was having difficulties overtaking, just trying to find a way past. I'd lock a brake up a little bit, very nearly end up in the back of the white car. Fortunately for me, he then promptly runs wide, sticks a wheel off the grass. That slows his run onto the straight down. But we have a very familiar story yet again. I've got myself on the outside and I've got nowhere I can really go. Again, very close to getting my car ahead, close enough to sort of pull it across in front, but it's not quite enough. I was trying a really radical line over here, going really wide on the way in and trying to get as good a run out of the turn, and that was where I was seeing the best gains. That's where I was most likely to get an overtake done. This time I was just a little bit too far back. I just couldn't quite get it far enough alongside. If you can stick the nose up the inside on the way out of that turn, you could probably get the position, but as it was, I just couldn't do it. I could not quite get my car far enough alongside. Further back, and the police car was coming under attack from another vehicle. I think this was the blue car that had fallen to the back after escaping the track on lap 1, was making his way through the order, was going to do the scary too wide through maggots, and there's a little bit of a bumping between the pair of them, but he manages to get the position before they ever come onto the straight. Probably the best place to get an overtake done if you're brave enough to have a go on the brakes. These cars are quite scary under braking as well. There was quite a lot of sort of diving when you jumped on the brakes. The rear end got quite light, and there were a few scary moments for these cars. As we headed on to the final lap, I was still looking for a way past the leader. He was a little bit slow onto the straight. No grass involved this time. I just got a really good run down here, but it's exactly the same story. Yet again, I'm looking, but I'm just alongside. I can't do anything about it. Fortunately for me, the leader goes a little bit too deep under brakes. Now, while he can still defend, yes, it makes him slower through these turns, and you saw the time gain I had from taking this wide line. I was going for the same tactic again as we come up towards the finish line. I was better on the exit, got better drive. I could sneak the nose up the inside, and he can't quite turn in for this final corner. Now it's just a drag race towards the line, and as we cross it, it is exactly side by side for us as we make the finish. Neither of us had a clue who had won this one until we paused the game to look at the finish. Now, officially, Forza gave me the victory by 0.002 of a second, but when I came to look at the photo finish, if you like, I'm not actually sure that I got the victory. Now, we saw in previous very close finishes in Versus the Community, it's when the wheels cross the line that the game counts as you finishing, not when the bumper crosses the line. So I've paused the replay here, having a look in the photo mode. You can clearly see that my car, the wheels are behind the line. It's got the camera a little bit stuck on the front of my Astra, whereas the white car's wheels are pretty much on the line. Forza gave me the victory, but I'm not quite sure about that one. I think that probably the white Astra should have had it, but it is unbelievably close between the pair of us with that run to the finish. It was a hugely fun race, this one. And it wasn't just us at the front that had a ridiculously close finish. The green Astra, again, continuing his battle with the yellow car, was just not finding a way past either. He got a little bit wrong on the brakes into this corner. The yellow Astra was very wide on the brakes as well. And again, he was having to take a similar tactics that I were, taking a bit of a wider line on the way into the corner, try and get as good a run out of the turn. This time, he couldn't quite sort of sneak up the inside, but the white Astra was a little bit slow. I'm not sure if he missed a gear change slightly, or whether it was taking such a tight line slowed him down. Either way, the yellow car was not quite as quick. There's a little bit of a rubbing door mirrors, and these two both also crossed the line, absolutely side by side. And again, we go to the photo finish. It was the green vehicle that was given third place. This time I agree with it. When we look at the photo, you can see the yellow car here is the tyres just behind the line, and I was trying to get the camera in between the cars. It doesn't like it, but the green vehicle's tyre is on the line. Again, another ridiculously close finish between that pair of vehicles. Yeah, these Astras, there was huge amounts of close racing. Very, very good fun at this Silverstone circuit, and because it was a difficult place to overtake, cars could defend and it kept the field yeah, pretty close, and plenty of exciting racing action. Anyway, that is it for this week's FailRace versus the community. The next one shall be held on Thursday, the 7th of May, and it's going to be our 100th versus the community race. So I thought, for a bit of fun, we'll go back to where it all began. We shall be running open A-class cars. We'll be visiting Silverstone GP, which was the first track ever run in a versus the community. Unfortunately, because we're on Forza 5, it won't quite be the same layout, but we'll be going to Silverstone GP along with a couple of other circuits. If you'd like to sign up and take part in that event, then you can go to our forums. There'll be a link in the description. Find the FailRace versus the community section, and all the sign up information shall be in there. But that's it from me. Thank you very much for watching, and until next time, goodbye.